Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Episode of Outside the Panels. I am your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and have I got my finger on the pulse? Today is the Kickstart live date for a fantastic new book. All right, so as we record this, it's only been a couple of hours. It's doing fantastic already. Let's get on the show the writer creator of the book. It's Cory Creator. Cory, how's it going?
Hey Johnny, thanks for the intro there.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Really keeping me on my toes too with the 30-second countdown at the beginning. You know, if you had stage fright, watch out.
Yeah. Hey, I've got to remember to say names right. That's hard enough, right?
Yeah, right.
So you have a new book out, Codex Volume 1, a post-apocalyptic graphic novel.
Yeah.
What is it about post-apocalyptic that makes the story, the whole genre, so enticing for people?
Well, I don't know. When I started writing this, I kind of wanted to take the post-apocalyptic genre and kind of hold some of those conventions that people love about post-apocalyptic, but also sort of remix it and kind of mash up the genres. So it's as much a dark fantasy story as it is a post-apocalyptic story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Touch of Western, I thought, when I looked at the pages.
Definitely some Western in there too. Yeah. There's a little bit of everything from what I've been told. A lot of people are saying it's like Guardians of the Galaxy meets Mad Max, and I kind of like that.
Oh yeah, I could see that actually. Yeah. Now you've mentioned it, I didn't put two and two together and come up with that.
I didn't come up with it either, but multiple people on their own said that to me, and I was like, oh, well.
Well, I mean, it's serendipity, isn't it? And I can, as soon as you've said it, I can see why.
Yeah.
So I mean, to give some context, it's a 196-page graphic novel about a man, a mutant, a druid, and a cyborg dog. Now, as soon as you say cyborg and animal, I don't understand why I didn't think of it. You're going to think Rocket, and of course, the Guardians 3 has the whole animal welfare thing going on. So it's pretty. Maybe I'm just too nice and I don't see these things. I don't know.
No, I mean, there's definitely like enough distinguishable differences, but I honestly went into writing this without thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy one time. But
cool.
But Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome, so I would love to have it fall into that sort of pile. So yeah,
cool. That's fine. How long does it take you to put the whole project together to write the story?
Yeah, so the writing aspect of it, I initially wrote this as a screenplay because that's sort of my bread and butter has been writing teleplay screenplay. And then I was recommended, why don't you make it into a graphic novel? And I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. So I kind of just went back and revised it. And the first 2 volumes have been written for 2 years. So this is just the first volume. And I'm getting way ahead of myself, and I've already written most of the 3rd volume. So hopefully it does well because I'd love to release all 3.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so there's the timing element. You wrote this 2 years ago. Guardians came out this year, so I'm sure there's elements of Guardians you're watching, and you're thinking, God damn it.
No, I mean, honestly, I've been so busy, I haven't even gotten around to see the last one. Yeah, I know. It's a sin. It's a sin.
Well, not really. My wife loves Guardians. I'm kind of like...
I love it too. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I was speaking to a guy, Des Taylor, last week, and he's got a graphic out from Titan Comics, a comic. And the idea behind it is this AI that can infiltrate people's computers and programs from anywhere in the world, which is pretty much the same plot for the latest MI movie. So when I said, oh, it's very similar, I was aware that Des had wrote his book 3 years ago.
Yeah. There's only so many plots you could do, right?
Yeah.
So many archetypical characters, so many plots, and then everything's a remix.
Yeah, I think was it Harrison Ford said there's only 7 types of stories in the world.
Yeah, well, this one we definitely have elements of the hero's journey. We have a MacGuffin, that's the Codex. So there's a lot of tropes, but I like to think when you mix and match and you put enough work into it, and your prose is good, and your dialogue feels natural, that you can tell maybe a story as old as time, but through a new lens.
Yeah, perfect. Let's have a look at the video. So we'll just add this into our screen. There you go. There's our Kickstarter. Where is the volume? There it goes. Here we are. So I'll just hit play.
August Tansky. To what do I owe the pleasure?
You see, I'm in search of a powerful device. One rumored to be limitless.
You have no idea what you found.
Wow.
Yeah, we wanted to blow people's faces off the second they saw it, which was the goal.
Accomplished.
Yeah.
Second time I've seen it. I watched it earlier. You've written screenplays before.
Yes.
It plays very well as a kind of animation.
Yeah, and actually, so my studio, I started my own company probably 7 years ago now. I've been in the YouTube space since I was just a kid. And yeah, so I started my own media company, and we have an entire animation department of the company, and basically I just commissioned them to make this animation. So they took parts of the actual graphic novel and just there were a couple like hand-drawn bits, like the foot coming down and the Chaos Reaper turning and growling. But yeah, they really did such a great job.
Wow. So you mentioned screenplay, you've talked animation, you've gone comic books.
Now I've done comic books, yeah.
Well, from a creative point of view, how difficult or different is it from writing a screenplay to writing a comic book?
Well, I wrote the comic sort of unconventionally. I know that some people, I've seen plenty of comics, and I wanted to make sure I got it right before turning it into a comic, but a lot of the beats had to change because oftentimes with screenplays, it's like there's a breath or a beat or something, and you can't really represent a beat or a breath in panels, or at least not as easily. So yeah, it took a little finagling, but overall I kept it in that screenplay format, and I just laid out how many panels per page, and then which panels I wanted each part to be on. But yeah, it was a pretty substantial undertaking to convert an entire. I mean, in comic pages, it's going to be like 450 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, so
it's impressive. So
thank you.
Obviously, writing screenplays is quite a singular existence. You write what you want to write, hand it off, and then it goes and people act and direct and produce and the rest of it. Comic books seem to be a lot more collaborative at the base level, because you're setting up not only do you have to worry about the story, the dialogue, you've also got to think about your camera angles, what you want to show as the on the page, and how you want that to be seen. From your point of view, working on YouTube Universe and doing all sorts of stuff like that, do you find it hard to pull back from that kind of all-in-all creator to kind of get your point across, or do you find it easier to trust artists and colorists and so on to go and do what they need to do?
Right, and I think I did a pretty good job with the writing on this, but no matter how well I was going to write this story, the part that shines through is obviously Pablo and Damien and the fantastic artwork they've done here. Like, you're never going to beat the artists when you're writing a graphic novel, I don't think.
See, I'm going to disagree with you on this one because
Yeah.
I think, from the view from the cheap seat as a comic book fan,
Mhm.
I could read a well-written story with dodgy art far easier than I can read a dodgy story with great art.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying your book's
Maybe
bad
I just
art.
don't have enough experience
Yeah, but the art
reading.
in the book's gorgeous. I'll say that now. It is gorgeous.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
But I just, how many times? Put it this way: from a screenplay type of, from media, film type of. How many times have you seen a show that looks absolutely fantastic, but then when you get down to it, it's like, man, what's going on?
Yeah.
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 I'll give you a prime example. The Transformers movie, the first one. It was on terrestrial TV over here this weekend, and I wasn't really watching it. It was just on, like background noise.
Sure.
And I walked in, and there was this scene where Sam's looking for the glasses in the house, and his parents come in, and Optimus Prime is giving it all like, "Quick, Autobots, hide!" So Prime's hiding behind a tree, someone's hiding behind the garage, someone's hiding behind the house. And I turned to my wife and I'm like, aren't they Transformers? Don't they transform into cars? Isn't there a road next to the house?
That's a good point.
I think that, and I'm like,
hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, like, isn't that the idea of the robots in disguise element? Have I missed something?
Yeah.
My wife looked at me and went, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, maybe it's just the irony is just lost on us or something.
I don't know, but that's what I mean. A film that can look good has brain dead moments in that. They pull me out of the movie. Definitely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what I was getting at is maybe I just haven't. I don't know. I just really, all the books I have, I really appreciate the artwork.
So
and I appreciate books with like different artwork. I'm blanking on everything right now, but
it's all right. But you're absolutely right. I mean, art in comic books is different. For one, Jim Lee, you've got Todd McFarlane, you've got Jim Aparo, you've got Norm Brayfogle, all these characters, all these artists who do different styles.
Yeah,
art is very subjective. Of course it is.
Yeah.
So but that element.
I think we have some great writers in the comic scene right now. Like James Tynan and I really like Ed Bryson and Ed actually gave us a quote because I've worked with like an artist who's worked with him, so he helped me out and and stuff like that. But I mean, I think like we're sort of, while comics may not be generating the same revenue they were before COVID, I think like we are in a bit of like an artistic renaissance with writing and how that translates to the page.
Perfect. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. I will, and I think not to sort of like belabor the point, I guess. I agree with you that the art is the thing that you notice when you walk into a comic book store. It's the cover and the art that you're going to notice first, and then you flip the page and then you start reading. So I
think that's it's perfect when you have exceptional art and exceptional writing paired up, and it's such a shame sometimes when one falls short of the other, and
yeah, we still buy the books.
I'll still buy it though. Then it's just a picture book. So
yeah. Tell me about it. I must have. No. My wife will say I have plenty of picture books. All right, we've been talking about the art. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
We've got some pages that you were kind enough to send across. This is kind of the prelude, isn't it? The prelude before everything changes. We've seen that panel before animated in the trailer, and then things go a little bit haywire after this, don't they?
Yep.
Let's have a. When you hand stuff off for artists to do their thing, how nervous are you when it comes back?
Well, I've only worked with Pablo, who's the ink artist on this, and then on there's another book I'm writing or that I've written, and we're kind of pitching it around right now, and I'm very excited about it, but we'll talk about that later maybe. But with this, I can genuinely say out of the 100 and it's not 196 art pages. There's some design pages in there, but out of all the pages that Pablo sent to me, maybe 2 like something got lost in translation, like where he just didn't know what I was writing, probably because of my own fault. But he just somehow he's like in my head. He knows exactly what I meant by what I wrote. I write using a lot of these like vivid metaphors and stuff. And like if you go back to that last page, I said starbursts like 1,000 bullseye lanterns or something, and like that's what he came up with. And I'm like, hey, like I thought it was pretty weird, but he picked up on what I was saying, you know.
Yeah. That's
So
to say that, yeah, spot on.
Yeah, he does a great job at like just he knows exactly what I want to say.
Cool.
And how to show it.
Indeed. So I was heartbroken. I am such a softie when it comes to animals. And look what happened to the dog.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Right, yeah. So like this first scene, like before we cut here, by the way, like I was very excited to do like a match shot. So if you don't have the digital right, where you flip the page, that last page to this page, it's like a mirror image. So
let's have a look.
So he's
now
barking.
Now you said that, we're going to have a look at this.
Yeah. So he's barking, and there's the Chaos Reaper behind him here. But on the previous page, he's barking, and he has Dharma.
Oh, yes.
So the wolves become the words.
Yes, I see it now.
And that previous scene is it's a dream sequence where it shows a lot of Tansky's idealistic views of how life was before the end of the world. So our common misconception is like he never lived that moment. It was just like a dream, you know, and everything that happens in that dream is going to come into full effect somehow. It's sort of like it's more of a harbinger than anything. So yeah, absolutely.
The artist Pablo, what a great job! I've got to say, I've looked through this book and I am absolutely blown away. And I think you're absolutely right when you mentioned that we're in a renaissance for artists and writers. I think Kickstarter is so lucky to have so many talented writers and artists putting their books out. Unbelievable.
No, I really I think Kickstarter is the greatest way to at least get your foot in the door. I did a lot of reaching out to publishers and whatnot before we decided to take the indie route on this one. And yeah, it's pretty exceptionally hard to get someone to get back to you on anything or notice your work. So
that's fair.
We thought, well, you know, like if you need proof of concept that something's going to work, you might as well just like absolutely kill it on Kickstarter. And then suddenly people are going to have their eyes on you as a writer and you as an artist.
I think you're right, absolutely. And I think obviously I don't want you to drop names or anything like that of who you went to or anything. But the quality looks absolutely fantastic. It's up there. It's up there with published books for sure. Absolutely for sure. Are you a comic book fan yourself? Yeah.
You mentioned. Don't talk to me about superheroes though, because I don't do superhero. I'll do some Batman. I'll do some Batman. Because you talk to people about comic books, and it's just like it feels like it's a lot of superhero. But I really like I don't know, Jeff Lemire and Brian K. Vaughan and like we talked about James Tynion and
I get that. Here at Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes, we cut our teeth on indie books. Even now, we review more. We do more indie books than we do anything else because you know the big two. They don't need my help. Spider-Man doesn't need me talking about how bad or good the book is. You know? So my job, my role here is to help point people into the direction of other things. You know,
no, I love that. I love that.
Because fair enough, you might still get a superhero book from an indie title. But there are other things out there, and this is one of the things I love about comics: is you don't have to go the Cape and Cowl route. I mean, everyone loves Batman. I get it. You know, who doesn't love all pointy ears? But still, you know, there's a world outside of Gotham.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think some of the writers you've mentioned there.
And I mean, I just haven't really delved too deep into Marvel or anything like that. So maybe I'm just not giving it a proper shot. But I'm one of those guys that doesn't know where to begin with that sort of thing.
I think if you're watching the movies, I think you'd be totally shocked at how different the movies versus the comic books are. You'd be like, what? Yeah, so that's fine. I don't judge anybody on what they read. I get it. My question was going to be, who are you reading? And
well, I mean,
James Tynion.
Yeah. But I mean, like Neil Gaiman is always fantastic. Sandman. And From Hell is like one of my favorites for graphic novels. Like it's just Alan Moore is exceptional.
What did I do recent? Oh, in a recent pod on one of our, we have another show called Old Timers Comic Book Show where we look at comics from yesteryear, and we looked at code non-approved books, and Swamp Thing came up for some of Alan Moore's stuff. And you think of all the stuff he's written, Killing Joke, Watchmen, Swamp Thing. Then moving on to the indie stuff.
Well, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was not as much like the movie as I thought it was going to be. So,
yeah, but for the better, right?
Yeah. There was. I could have gone without the sex scenes, honestly.
I thought the book was brilliant. I really
it is. It's just like it's funny.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's the kind of thing that happens in my house. I'll show my wife, "Oh, this book's great." Then she'll go and watch the movie, and then look at the book and say, "Where's Sean Connery?" I'm like, see that scrawny bloke there? That's supposed to be Sean Connery.
I know, right? Isn't that funny? It's gets lost in translation with Hollywood.
A little bit, but you've got to get your actors in somewhere along the way. I don't mind the movie for what it is.
I actually loved it. I watched it growing up, so it has a special place with me.
I love The Shadow as well.
Yeah,
I love them. Yeah. Bit kitschy every now and again, but yeah, it's cool. Anyway, enough about them. Before we get more into the book and the
we're supposed to be talking about me.
Yeah, we're going to chill. Time for an advert for one of our other shows. You know what? We talked about it, so here you go. Here's the advert. It's the Old Timers.
Do you want to find out what makes a professor do his happy dance? Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, only on the UCPN.
Oh, the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are. There you go. Books on there have to be at least 25 years old to get any traction. There you go.
It's going to take me a minute.
Not just it. The Codex. You mentioned earlier on there's lots of different genres in there. Post-apocalyptic future, some Western, some sci-fi, some fantasy.
You got diesel punk, you got retrofuturism. Yeah.
Which element do you enjoy the most?
I'm like very into turn of the century, like Gilded Age, World War I, like that whole era, aesthetically, mostly aesthetically, but then also like thematically from a sense of like broken promises of the future. There's all this hope for technology and what's going to come. That's the whole retrofuturistic part. And I even, we're going to get way more into it in volume 2 and 3, but there's like, you'll see these machines, and like when we have flashbacks to the days of old, it's very much like, what is it called? Like Worlds of Tomorrow, and and taking type thing. Inspiration from that. And so sort of like steampunk. What's kind of fun is like the before times are steampunk, and then we're in the current time is just diesel punk. So we kind of get a little bit of everything there. I tried to keep the whole story grounded to a degree, because I know if you have too many ideas, you can just end up in space. So
I think as long as you introduce them at different elements,
Right. And that's one way I broke it up, was breaking up a lot of the elements through time periods. Yeah.
And that's what you need to do. Kind of think there's nothing against having these different aspects clamoring for attention. You just can't have them clamoring on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
But that said, I mean, we've looked through some of the pages of the book. It seems robot dog. You've got a cowboy in a trench coat. You've got, the hulking bad guy who looks proper evil. How did you give design nods for how the bad guys were because of your background in media?
Yeah, so I had some ideas for a lot of the character designs, and I sent over references like, I think he should wear this sort of clothing, or he should have this sort of facial features, or yada yada, like whether it's like a famous celebrity or whatever. But so I don't really know how to pronounce his last name because I've never spoken to him in person, but Damien Cusiero, I think is how you pronounce it. But he worked on was Cluster with Ed Bryson. He was like, so he does ink a lot for Ed. And he helped me do the character. So he came up with the character designs for the main ensemble and some of the other, Broken Arrows characters and Darmok. So Damien did a great job at coming up with these sorts of taking my vision and then adapting it into something even more elevated. Like Conrad, that was more him than me, because I knew I wanted him to be a big brawny mutant, but the colors, like choosing green for the skin and stuff like that, like I didn't even envision that when I wrote him. So I thought it was just gonna be really ugly.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
Oh, come on.
It's like a Frankenstein thing, isn't he? So
he is a bit Frankensteinish, yeah.
It's cool. I'm gonna brag a little bit here. I have just refreshed your Kickstarter there, and whilst you were talking, I saw the pledges spin around. So people are backing your book right now as we speak. That's pretty cool.
And Kickstarter, it's a project we love, what they call it, right? So they like labeled it that, and
cool.
That was in like the first 2 hours. I mean, they're really doing me a solid here.
Yeah. So I'm based in the UK, so the UK prices, we can convert that at the moment. You're currently sitting, bearing in mind you've been open how many hours?
We have been up for about 4 hours.
4 hours.
5 minutes.
And already you are at $3,361 from your pledge of $20,000. You've got 63 backers. That's immense for 4 hours.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm lucky. I have like a lot of friends who I never shut up about this project to. So when it finally came out, they were like, "Well, I gotta back it." I mean, he never stops talking about it. So, so I have a lot of friends who backed it. We did an Instagram influencer marketing campaign with a lot of comic review pages, and so we have like a lot of really nice and talented people on Instagram who are just read the book and giving their 2 cents on it.
Well, I'm sure I can help you out with a review for that as well down the line for you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Let's have a look at the pledges, because that is what people love their most, as well as their add-ons. So you can make a pledge without reward. There's your $1. Back it because you want to. And then $15 is your minimum pledge on that one. This is for your digital PDF. Yep. Now, when you think 196 pages, I admit you mentioned there that not every it's art pages. I get that, but that's still a really good price for information on there. So that's impressive. PDF's important. Why did you go PDF?
Just it's the format we've been passing it back and forth with, and I think it reads the best. You can set it up for the 2-page, so it reads like an open book.
Okay.
Cool. At least with Reader. But the PDF, it comes along with all the other tiers as well. We just started tossing it in as like a bonus.
I think PDFs are vital for Kickstarters because Kickstarter is not just a US thing; it's an international thing.
Right.
So PDF is probably the easiest way international readers can get your book. If you think about it, I don't have a problem dropping $5, $6, whatever on a comic book because that's what I pay at the local comic book shop. I have problems when I have to pay $6 whatever for a book, and I have to pay a further $25 to get it shipped over. It's just cost prohibitive.
I mean, with this book, there's going to be certain areas if people choose to go and order it where, like it's going to cost more than the book itself to get it shipped to you. You know.
Yeah. So as your first Kickstarter, I would say PDFs for international is a definite. So I'm glad to see that you've got that in there.
Yeah, and I'd love to have people read it all over the world. It's just, I don't know, it's a little limiting with the, I don't know. I don't choose the shipping rates, unfortunately.
No, and that's fine. And I totally get that. And I think, if anybody wants to go for Kickstarter, you need to bear in mind there is the shipping cost. So I'm not saying don't back the book. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, what's your postage? Because you should back the book because it looks great. And I've got the PDF to review. So there, and I know these things. Early bird soft cover edition, $25. It lasts for 24 hours. Early chance to get that book. $25 gets you that. Impressive. I like that. 19 backers already on that. That's impressive.
Gotta get that deal.
Yeah. You've got. I don't understand why one person's backed for the $30 version.
I don't have the heart to tell them they could have gotten the $25 one, but
I'm confused about that one. Early bird hardcover, well done. I like this one. 7. I do like a good hardcover. 7 backers, $35. October's my birthday. Not that I'm saying anything other than that.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. And then for the non-24-hour version, you've got the $40 on that one. Grimoire. What's a Grimoire?
Well, Grimoire is like as a book of dark magic, almost like a satanic book, and that's sort of what the codex is. It's like spells. It's dark mana, and when you use it, you're able to unleash the powers of ancient demons. And you can see more on the Grimoire edition if you scroll down on the left. There is mock-ups of all the books. The Grimoire edition has its own custom cover, gold foil, gilded edges, and it comes with 2 exclusive cardstock prints. So Pablo and Damien did these 2 additional prints.
There it is.
Yeah,
that looks gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's Kickstarter exclusive. So the idea is, in the event this series took off and people are really invested in it, maybe one day you got the Kickstarter Grimoire edition. There's only so many in the world, and there's a value to it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Excellent. That is a gorgeous looking book.
Yeah.
That's just. I kind of like that one as well.
I like that one too. You can get all 3,
Easy, Tiger. It's my birthday, not your birthday.
Yeah, I'll send them to
you. Where are we up? Retailer times 5, $75.
Yeah, the retailer gets 50% off on 5 copies hardcover, 5 copies softcover. Yeah,
so that's to encourage them to sell.
But the Grimoire isn't for retailer because we want to make sure it's a Kickstarter exclusive. Yeah.
There's the retailer version. Excellent.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, we tried to do our best to make it. I mean, it's my first Kickstarter, but I was like, well, I kind of want it to be clean and look nice, and we have everything you need.
Yeah. Oh, look, you've got some retailers hooked already on that one.
I do. I've actually gone to some local comic shops, like here in Denver. There's Mutiny Comics, and I spoke with several of the guys that run that shop, and they were super supportive. And
Mile High Comics, is that still up there?
Yeah. Mile High Comics. I dropped in their shop. I basically I had the advanced reader copies, and I went to like all the shops in Denver and just handed them out for free to people and said, hey, if you like this, the Kickstarter's coming up and you could buy. And some of them looked at me like, okay, what do you want though? I'm like, just take the book and consider buying them if you think it has legs or something. But I guess that was like not a very normal thing that people do, huh? Like, so
comic book for free? What?
Yeah.
What?
They're like
What?
trying to get money out of me because I'm holding this. Like,
I'm not touching it if I have to buy it.
yeah, no, I got like 50 copies just to hand out to people before the launch. Yeah.
Excellent. I've got to say the book looks great.
Thank you.
It looks absolutely spot on. I love how the characters interact. The talking dog had me from the page. I was like, right, talking dog sold. I am a bit of a softie when it comes to animals, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite character seems to be Ace. So the dog, because he is really rude and speaks his mind freely, and I think people really like that. So
more people should be like that.
Yeah, right. Be more like him.
Yeah, cool. Right, give us your 30-second elevator pitch of why people should pledge for the Codex.
Well, when you pledge to the Codex, you're pledging for indie comics and indie creators, and that money is going to go straight to Volume 2 and making sure the story continues, and the super talented artists who worked their asses off on this can get paid. And I'm probably going to pay them anyway and continue making it regardless. But you're really helping me out, and you're helping out the indie comic cause, right? So
cool. Hell yeah. Excellent. You can follow Cory on Instagram. There it is. Real Cory Creator. You know how Instagram works. You don't need me to tell you this, right? We've had a look at the Kickstarter. It's live as we speak. Get in there. Get these 24-hour deals. Get the books that you want. The version. Yes, I know that the Kickstarter address is long, but guys, you know how it works by now. You go to Kickstarter.com. You type in the Codex, and anything that has those words in will come up on the screen. You then scroll down, find the one you look for, hit the button, and that's it. Job done. How hard can it be? If you found us, you can find that. That's how it works. Yeah. Excellent. Cory, it's been an absolute blast talking to you, sir. Really do appreciate you spending on launch day, no less, taking the time.
I needed to take a minute away from the screen. I mean, it's just like to be on the screen with you. But Johnny, I really appreciate you having me on the show and to talk about it.
No, you are more than welcome. More than welcome. And anytime you've got your Kickstarters and your new projects coming up, just drop me a line, man, and we'll certainly invite you back in for some more chit chat. All right.
Fantastic.
Right, guys. Don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite shows, including the Old Timers Comic Book Show. And if you do like Marvel, unlike Cory and I to some extent, don't forget to check out the No Prize podcast. And for all you DC fans, it's the Definitive Crusade. All right. Cory, it's been an absolute blast. Thank you once again. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I've been your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes. And as always, adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.